Hello students, in continuation of the previous lecture in which we were discussing George Orwell's essay Politics and the English Language. The main argument of George Orwell is that the normalization of bad writing leads to political oppression. Orwell starts with the premise that the distortion of language reflects a corruption of civilization. But Orwell objects to the conclusion he believes readers usually draw from this initial premise. Especially, Orwell claims that those readers, even those who think language and politics are in a bad state, presumes that language is merely a mirror of society. That is, language only reflects the state of the world. Orwell claims language does not reflect the condition society. Language, he argues, also shapes society. He contends that language is both perspective and descriptive of civilization's decline. Orwell then takes a step back to what explain constitutes bad writing. He begins by listing a series of passages. Reading each passage, it is difficult, if not impossible, to make out the writer's point. Orwell uses these passages to identify the elements of bad writing, such as inflated prose or a mixture of vagueness and sheer incompetence. In describing the features of inflated prose, Orwell points that laziness is the primary driver of inflated style. That is, instead choosing words and phrases carefully, lazy writers use inflated style to grab whatever smart-sounding words and phrases they have on hand. In the process, bad writers lose their grip on reality, allowing junked up prose to create a gap between one's real and one's declared aims. These writers, he explains, exchange truth for convincing as they pull together words without really thinking. According to Orwell, inflated styles circulates through society like a disease, rotting the brains of writers and readers. Once the normalized, Orwell warns, inspiring dictators can more easily engage in linguistic trickery. Manipulative governments can make lies sound truthful and murder respectable by using the same inflated style of lazy writers. In other words, dictatorships merely capitalize on the linguistic vagueness normalized by lazy writers. Thus, as means of resisting oppression, Orwell encourages readers to adopt more careful reading and writing practices. To help a writer change his own habits as means to resist government's manipulation, Orwell outlines 8 guidelines for writers geared towards more honesty and concision. He explicitly warns against relying on ready-made phrases, which he describes as like packet of aspirin always at one's elbow. Instead, Orwell encourages readers to exercise more imagination and create more vivid metaphors. Likewise, Orwell recommends concision, using as few syllables and words as possible.